When people talk about living in Japan, they always say that it's very expensive, especially living in Tokyo. You have very high rent prices, you have very high transportation prices, food is expensive, eating out is expensive, everything just costs a ton of money. This is really true. For the past 3 months, I've been recording every yen that I've spent. I've been breaking it down by categories, and I thought I'll kind of share with you how much I actually spent living every month in Japan. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about kind of fixed costs that we have, about this apartment, about some other utilities and stuff, and also kind of day-to-day spending as to on what we spend money and on what we spend how much money. If you're new to this channel, my name is Adam. I do a lot of different videos about Japan, mostly travel stuff, also some culture stuff, and just helping you better understand Japan and better travel Japan. So let's jump right into it. Before getting into kind of the monthly breakdown as to what I spend how much money exactly, I thought it would be interesting to talk about the fixed costs that we have living here. First up, we have the rent of this apartment. We have an apartment that's 50 square meters, which is around, I think, 540 square feet, if I'm correct. I don't know US metrics. It has 2 rooms and then also a kitchen / dining room, separate bath and toilet, and also a balcony. I actually wanted to record today's video outside, but unfortunately it's raining, or it was raining. Everything is just wet. So next video I'm going to show you my really cool balcony. But anyway, for this apartment we are paying 67,000 yen, which is around $600 a month, and that is already pretty cheap. The reason for that is because the apartment is still kind of near Tokyo, so it would be taking maybe 10 minutes to walk down to Machida, but Machida is already on the very outskirts of Tokyo, so it's like the last part between Tokyo and the neighboring prefecture here, Kanagawa. Yeah, it takes around 40 minutes from our home to get to Shinjuku, and maybe 45 minutes to get to Shibuya, which are kind of more central areas in Tokyo. So yeah, that's why the rent is reasonably cheap for an apartment that's reasonably big. It's roughly the same size as our apartment back home in Vienna. It's just a little bit, you have to commute a little bit longer, but you also get more space for less money. Now looking at the utilities, these are gas, water and electricity. They come down roughly right now to around 10,000, a little bit more than 10,000 yen, so around $100. They are slightly more expensive. Well, they have been slightly more expensive recently just because it was winter. We had to use the heater, we had to use more hot water for the bath and everything. So I'm expecting those to go down in the summer. Other fixed costs that I have are my phone bill. I use a phone provider that's called OCN. I did a video on how I got the SIM card and everything set up. It's either up here or up here. You can check it out if you want to know how to get a SIM card in Japan, and I recommend OCN. I get 6 gigabytes of internet per month that also rolls over to next month, and I also can make calls for 10 yen for 30 minutes. At home internet we are paying I think around 3,000 yen, around $30 per month. We get 120 megabits down. It's around 4 times faster than back in Vienna, while it is also for the same price, so I think internet here is a great deal. The last fixed costs that you will always have in Japan are health insurance. If you are employed, your employer will pay your health insurance for you. If you're not employed like me, you have to pay your own kind of national health insurance. With that, you are insured. If you have an accident or something, you need to go to the doctor, you only have to pay 30% of the bill, and 70% is covered through the health insurance. So for me, the premiums right now are 2,100 yen per month, which is very low. That's because I haven't had any income in Japan in the last year, obviously, because I only came here like 5 months ago. So that leaves us with total monthly fixed costs of around 87,000 yen, around $810, maybe $820. However, the internet for the home as well as the utilities, these are paid by Judy, my girlfriend. I only pay the rent as well as my own stuff, so my own health insurance, also my cell phone bill. So my kind of fixed costs per month are closer to 71,000 yen, around maybe $680. So with this fixed costs out of the way, let's take a look at the monthly breakdown. Record the months of January, February, March, and also this month April, but I'll get to it a little bit later. But April is a bit special because we are in a quasi lockdown right now, or semi lockdown, so there's not a lot of opportunities to spend money. But yeah, I'll get to it a little bit later. So yeah, let's start off with January. Oh, and by the way, I use the app that's called Moneyfy for recording all of my money. I think it's a great app. You have kind of breakdown between categories. You can add expenses, you can add income if you want, and you have a really great overview on how much money you spend on anything. January was the month in which we moved into this apartment, and it was also the month I spent most money so far in Japan, at around 98,000 yen total, or around $900. Most of that money, around 40,000 yen, went into this apartment, so buying things for the apartment, buying furniture, buying cutlery for the kitchen, buying like a futon, like a bed, buying stuff for the balcony, stuff like that, all went into the first kind of month, and it was almost half of the budget of that month. Public transportation in that month cost me 18,000 yen, or around $160. Grocery shopping came down to around 12,000 yen, around $100. Finally, I also spent around 7,000 yen each on kind of entertainment. It means like going out, drinking alcohol at a bar and stuff like that, and also 7,000 yen on eating out, dining out, so going to a restaurant and stuff. And the other smaller expenses were just clothes and some other miscellaneous stuff. February I spent less because we already moved. My February total was around 83,000 yen, or maybe around 780 US dollars. Most expensive stuff were still kind of buying stuff for this home and also eating out. These were both at around 13,000 yen each. Public transportation in that month was at 12,000 yen, and I also bought some camera equipment which was also at 12,000 yen, around 100 US dollars each. I also spent 9,000 yen on presents, which is around $80. That's because it was Valentine's Day and also our half-year anniversary. And also I spent only 7,000 yen in that month on grocery shopping, which kind of shows the correlation between eating out and grocery shopping. So if you go eating out more, you kind of spend less on groceries here. Because eating out in Japan is not particularly expensive. You can get some really great food for often less than 1,000 yen for a lunch set, which is around 9 US dollars, and you don't have to tip in Japan, which is also great. So you can definitely find some great deals on like lunch and dinner and eating out, and you're gonna spend less money on groceries. And also in that month I also went to Aso, Kumamoto prefecture in Japan, so I spent less money on those. Like it was a short trip, maybe 3 days, but I didn't spend money on that time, so that's why it was kind of slightly less on the food expense side. Now March, the money was spent was roughly the same as February, at around 85,000 yen for that month, around 800 US dollars, but the breakdown was very different. The most expensive thing in that month was actually public transportation. As I used the Youth 18 ticket, I did a video on that kind of up here, but I'll do a more in-depth video soon. But I used the Youth 18 ticket to travel to Shizuoka to see the great kind of the very interesting train line running over the lake, and also we traveled to Kyoto still in March, and also used the Youth 18 ticket to get there. So yeah, public transportation for that month was at around 22,000 yen total, or around 200 US dollars. Other travel expenses while we were in Kyoto at around 130 US dollars. It's only a 2-day trip, but yeah, we spent some money on eating out and maybe buying some souvenirs and stuff. That was 13,000 yen, or maybe 110 US dollars. Eating out and grocery shopping were equal again here. It was at around 11,000 yen, or 100 US dollars each. I also ended up buying some more camera equipment because need to scratch the itch, which was at around 10,000 yen, or 90 US dollars. I also spent 4,600 yen on clothing, but I actually ended up buying a ton of items. The thing is, what I like to do in Japan is buy used clothing. So for example, the thing that I'm wearing right now, this white shirt, I ended up buying this for maybe 300 yen, which is around $50 at a second-hand store. But the quality is really great. I have a piece that I've been wearing for like 4 years now, and it hasn't really broken down or anything, like a shirt. And yeah, they have some really great quality stuff. I recommend going to Book Off, which is kind of the used bookstore, but they also have a clothing outlet. They have a ton of really great, even branded used clothing. Recommend if you are in Japan, get some used clothing, save money, and also help the environment, because you are kind of recycling instead of, well, just buying new. Yeah, as I said, April, which is kind of still ongoing, but it's already April 23rd or something. I kind of keep forgetting days in lockdown, but it's maybe like April 23rd, but I only spent 40,000 yen, or around 360 US dollars so far. The reason for that is, well, because if it's a lockdown, most stores are closed. There's only grocery stores, there's one 100 yen store that's still open, pharmacies, but yeah, most of the stuff is closed. I also don't travel anywhere by train. I only stick to my local area. That also saves money on public transportation. Nevertheless, I still spend around half of the money, 20,000 yen on grocery shopping, buying food and everything, because we are more eating in. I also spend around 6,000 to 7,000 yen each on eating out, because we used to go to restaurants, and we sometimes still go to restaurants for like takeout stuff, and also on public transportation just at the beginning of the month before the lockdown was announced. So like, excluding April, let's take a look at how much money I spent in 3 months, in the first 3 months of living here in Japan. So the most expensive things overall were buying things for the house, and also public transportation, which stood at around 60,000 yen each, or around 560 US dollars or something. Grocery shopping came down to around 50,000 yen, or around 450 US dollars, and eating out came down to around 40. 10,000 yen. All of the other kind of category expenses were below 20,000 yen each. But yeah, looking at a monthly breakdown, which includes the fixed costs that I'm paying and also all of the other stuff that I paid. In January I spent 170,000 yen total for this apartment, all of the fixed costs and all other expenses, which is around 1,500 US dollars. In February I spent around 155,000 yen, which is around 1,400 US dollars, which is again fixed costs plus all of the other expenses. And March was pretty much the same, 155,000 yen, which is around 1,500 US dollars. So for the 3 months I spent a total of 4,300 US dollars here in Japan, which is everything included, all of the expenses that I had for the first 3 months. If you want to break it down or kind of extrapolate it to a year, calculate it by 4 and you would get around 16, 17, 18,000 US dollars. I live kind of very frugal. I don't spend a lot of money on experiences, and since it's also my 6th time in Japan, I don't have kind of this itch that others might have around traveling around the country. Now I've been to different places. I've been to obviously Kyushu here. While we moved here, we've been to Nagano Prefecture. We've been traveling in Shizuoka as well. We've been to Kyoto. So we did some traveling, but yeah, again, I like to do budget traveling rather than kind of more lavish experiences. I don't really have to go to that many places because I've seen a lot of them already. But I think for somebody who might move to Japan for the first time or might move to Tokyo for the first time, they will definitely spend a lot more money on traveling. And also the other thing is, as I said, we are living 40 minutes away from Tokyo. It can be very far for you, it can be very close depending on how you're used to. So yeah, I hope this kind of breakdown was useful for you if you're looking to live in Japan maybe, and you are not quite sure how much money you would need as to if you have savings, or if you're looking for a job as to how much money you should make. It can be pretty cheap, it can also be as expensive as you want if you want to live in a massive apartment in Roppongi and eat out every day. And if you have any other questions about kind of living in Japan or when it comes to money in Japan, please also ask them down below. And yeah, if you like this kind of content, always subscribe if you want. You can check out some other videos that I did in Japan. I'll link a playlist down below if you want to see some other kind of helpful tips about kind of getting to Japan. With that said, I'll see you in the next one, which is going to be out on the balcony, as long as it's not raining. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.